Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of the Far End of the Bench podcast will be brought to you by things that we never thought possible. Because as much as people like to think that this show would have never gotten any traction, I know I've heard that going all the way back. We now have a new situation where we'll discuss that a little bit further. We had one of the records that a lot of people, both in the generation before Nico and I, in covering sports, and now our generation, never thought was going to happen. Alex Ovechkin is the new NHL record holder for career goals. And I think that it's the biggest story outside of March Madness. If it would have happened on its own, it would have been even better. But I think that ending the season this way, the Capitals having the year that they are, and I think the situation leading into the game where he finally got the goal against the New York Islanders sums it up best. This was a special moment. It was made special by Wayne Gretzky. I think that he deserves credit for being the ambassador of the game. He's traveling around with the new guy. He's not making it about himself. He wants to be there to congratulate and be the first one to tell Alexander Ovechkin that he is the new number one. And I think that was awesome of Wayne Gretzky to do. 895 career NHL goals. And it started way back when, and the guy has just been a machine ever since. And he's done this, think about it, with strike-shortened seasons, COVID-shortened seasons. He's done this on teams that had no business being anywhere near the playoffs, and he's dragging them to the at least divisional round where they almost always lost to the Penguins. It makes it even better that he's gotten his Stanley Cup, and we now just get to talk about one of the greatest players going off and riding off into the distance. And I didn't see a ton of hate, and there's not going to be any of hate with Nico and I, because I don't think that I ever thought anything like this was possible. I don't know if somebody comes close for Cal Ripken for MLB, but that doesn't really happen anymore. I mean, everybody wants to score goals, and maybe it's going to be all over and left up to Captain America, Austin Matthews. But I think that this will be something that stands for quite a long time. It could be Connor Bedard. It could be somebody that's not even in the NHL yet. I think that passing up the opportunity to get it on a empty net goal, and just, all of the great things that you can say about what he's done for the sport, what he's done for that franchise. I don't think that the Washington Capitals, there's a chance that they're not in Washington, because they were struggling when they drafted Alexander Ovechkin, and it couldn't have turned out any better. All his entire career with one team, and he accomplishes history with a lot of guys that he's been there with for a long time. Tom Wilson gets the assist on the record-breaking goal. Alexander Ovechkin, he's our thumbnail for a reason. We'll be talking a little bit more about him coming out on the other side of the intro. Episode 226 of the Far End of the Bench podcast. Nico Bryant will be joining me next.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.
Bands make her dance. Bands make her dance. I'm going to be careful. I'm going to be careful because I can't go too long with any of that, because obviously people are watching, and if we put anything out there that could possibly be copyrighted, we'll have to start over all again, and I don't want to do that. But
I'm gonna let you dance because you're the only one in a good mood today with this show coming out. So I'll let you enjoy it because it's a great moment. It's a great moment. It is a once in a lifetime moment. I remember watching LeBron's game when he broke Kareem's record. Obviously, I remember. I don't know if you remember this. I remember where I was when Barry Bonds broke Aaron's record. I remember when obviously Ovi did it this past week. Like it's such a historic moment. It's so awesome for the game.
No, I know that it's going to be a tougher episode. That's why I had to we're talking about this initially, because we need to get some goodness out into the world. But there is a lot of shit. I mean, it's been written on my whiteboard since, what was it, 1:30 yesterday, 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon when the news came down about Mike Malone. So we'll get to Mike Malone, Calvin Booth, the Denver Nuggets seeming implosion 3 games before the playoffs start. And we'll obviously look at playoff races, everything like that. There was a national championship that took place too. It was a busy weekend in sports. Like there was no breathing room whatsoever. But we're starting with Ovechkin. I think just a couple things to point out. I mentioned the lockouts and the shortened seasons in my center of attention. He had 13 seasons with 40-plus goals, which included his best ever season with 65 in 2007, 2008. He's got kind of like what Gretzky had. The goal scorers, it seems like if you're going to break the record, you need to have a section of the ice that everybody knows once you get to, you're deadly. And go figure, he shoots it and scores the record-breaking goal from his office, the top of the circle. It's from Tom Wilson, so it's his longtime buddy. I guess the biggest thing, who is now, do you have anybody that you think is going to break it currently, or is it going to be somebody that we haven't even seen yet?
Like our top fives later on, which spoilers out, like it's going to be unbreakable with asterisks around it for a reason, because it's probably unbreakable, but who knows at this point? It's like, look, with what what was crazy about the record breaking thing was I looked at the statistics of it. Like Ovechkin did that same amount of goals in one less game. Mm-hmm. That means Ovechkin has had basically the same amount of points per game or a goal per game standing his entire career as Ovechkin. What didn't happen in less games, didn't happen in more games, happened in the same amount of games, which is insane because we obviously talk about Gretzky as the greatest all time, and frankly, no one's even on that pedestal. And what Ovechkin did is it's historic. It's absolutely historic. And I mean, like, I understand that it's a different way of game, and frankly, like, it may be even more difficult now to score than it was back then. But like, it's what Ovechkin did in this timeline with this level of talent, this level of, frankly, big men defensively and good goaltending. Like look at the goaltenders he scored on, as opposed to, and no offense to the Gretzky, but like look at the goaltenders the two went against and who he had to face consistently. Like Fleury, Marc-Andre Fleury, who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, was in his division. He was playing 8 times a year. Like it's just something that was consistently happening, and it's such a remarkable record for someone that's 39 years old and has a full gray beard and full head of gray hair. But hey, that's not my 2 cents on it, is all I'll say.
Brother, you want birth certificate? You think I have birth certificate for Moscow? I have no birth certificate in Moscow.
Exactly. For those that aren't watching on YouTube, I just put air quotes around 39 for a reason, okay? Because look at that man, and look at the rest of look at your 39-year-old cousin or your uncle that was 39 years old, and tell me they're the same age, okay? Is all I'll say.
No, it's definitely a little bit off. How long do you think he's going to play? What do you think he's going to set this number at? Because now every goal that he scores in the regular season, I don't think that this is his last year. Maybe we'll see what happens next year. But how long do you think he's going to play? And what is this number going to be set at? Is he going to push it past 900? Or is it going to be?
If the Caps sucked, he'd be done. Let's keep it a buck. If they sucked, if they weren't very good, but they're a very good hocky team right now. They're one of the best teams.
I think they're in the President's Trophy race still.
Exactly, they're one of the best teams in the league. So it's a way different story. It was funny. I saw interviews going back and how he said, "What will you do after you if you were able to ever break Gretzky's record?" He's like, "You'll never see me step foot on the ice again." Obviously, step foot on the ice again. He's played 2 games already since then. But like, I could very, very well see him play for another 2 years and get to 1,000. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. That's the thing, is
1,000 goals in 2 more years.
Well, it's only 120 more goals, 2 years, 2 more full seasons. If the team is consistently, it's a long stretch. I know it is, but the motherfucker,
he's gonna have to not pass up those empty netters if he wants to get.
Jaromir Jagr played until he was fucking 55. Okay, so like it's not.
And he's also Eastern Bloc European, so you have a point there.
So it's like a little bit different. So like obviously it's. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I almost guarantee. I mean, he's like 5 goals away from 900. That's not even impossible.
Push him out they're going to skate him out on a wheelchair to his office. Like, here, set up the 1T. We're going to slide it over to you.
The conversation of him retiring hasn't even been thought of, frankly. It's more been like, he's consistently doing this on a team that's a good team. Why the hell would he leave? Right? It's not like he's the token old guy on the team that they're just putting out there for claps and for good morale. He's the first liner for this team. He's the captain of this team. It's not like he's going to go away. So that's why, like, obviously 900 is crazy. But if you told me that that Ovechkin would break this record after breaking his leg 20 games into the season, I would have been out of your mind. Right? That would have been out of your mind. We had this conversation, and what was it? August, maybe September, or maybe it was October, where we were like, this record's not going to get breaking this year.
It was like it was going to be it would have been like the last game of the season, possibly.
Exactly.
There's a couple scenarios where it would have been against Pittsburgh, but
like it would have been a miraculous feat to get it this year after he missed 20 games, and he did.
He was on a damn mission. He was on a total mission from the start of the season. I guess last two things that I want to talk about. Do you think that it means more? He's never played in another uniform. He's been a lifetime Capital, kind of like Sidney Crosby, because I do want to mention both. You can't really mention one without the other, and it's Ovechkin's moment to shine. I do want to mention Crosby also broke a Gretzky record. He now has the most seasons in a row over a point per game in the NHL. So both of them being lifetime with their teams, building up the franchise to what they are and the popularity of the sport where they're from. Does it mean more them being in the same sweater the entire time?
I mean, I think it does. If you look at what, we'll talk about basketball here in a minute, but like the feeling of when Luka got traded, I'm watching the Mavericks and Lakers game in the background, and the feelings of him being gone, it means something to these guys. It means something to these guys nowadays because, frankly, it's like Ovechkin has a family, kids there, a wife there. Obviously, they live in Russia during the offseason, but they have to live there with him or else he doesn't get to see his kids, right? So they live in Washington. The city of Washington gets to embrace him, right? There's very few in sports, it's one of the beautiful things in sports, and across football, basketball, hockey, baseball, whatever it may be. It's like you get to embrace certain players. You get to embrace all of this. Like you get to embrace living in the city, being face the city, having a statue there, all that, the other thing. And frankly, like it doesn't necessarily mean more because of the stat. I think it may be even more impressive that Gretzky did it with more teams because it's harder to jump around teams, but it just means more for the person. It means more for the organization that he was able to do
that. Like you said, we'll get back to what we think are quote unbreakable records at the very end for our top fives, but I guess we'll see what the next one is to fall. Now hockey is back in the limelight, and both playoff races for the NHL and NBA start in 10 days. We are 10 days on the calendar away from NBA playoff basketball, Stanley Cup playoff hockey. Ovechkin's going to be involved. The Capitals are going to be involved. The Avalanche are going to be involved. And this team, I don't know. I've never seen, like, normally when you choke this hard, it's not safe for work, Nico. Like, when you choke this hard, you can't show those videos in public, out in the open. You have to make sure that nobody's around when you open your phone. It's 10 days before the playoffs. You are a top 3 seed in your conference.
Not anymore.
But you're a top 3 seed in your conference when you do these two things. And your billionaire owner fires not just your head coach, because that would have been stupid enough. That's what's been written on my whiteboard since yesterday afternoon. But then he turns around and fires the GM, who was probably more rightfully so because of what he wasn't able to do. But now what's the plan? What's the strategy?
If you lived under a rock, you have no idea that Michael Malone is no longer the coach of the Denver Nuggets. Welcome to the show. But this is my 2 cents on it. Michael Malone is the winningest coach in Nuggets history. That's not so he is the arguably, probably not arguably, he is the greatest coach in Denver Nuggets history.
He's not even 2 years removed from winning a
2
championship.
years removed from winning an NBA championship. If those do not forget, like Michael Malone was fired by the Sacramento Kings back in 2014. Kings, basically him and Boogie Cousins were great friends, and the team was gelling really well. It's the prime of Boogie's era, and they were doing well, and they just fired him 1 year after having him as a coach. Nuggets obviously bring him in the next year. Those don't forget. Michael Malone is the one that said, Nurkic, you're not starting anymore. Jokic, you're the one to go. There's the development of Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray, 7th overall pick. What are you going to turn into? all-pro level player, although he hasn't got to that. Lacapora Jr., you were number one recruit in the country, but hey, you actually are going to be you have back problems where you're going to miss your 2 first full seasons. What are you going to look like? Oh, you're actually going to come back and be a high-level scorer in this league consistently. That's what you're going to do. Aaron Gordon, you got traded from Orlando. You're not going to be anything in this league, right? You're only going to be known for the dunk contest. But actually, you come here, let's fit you into the system and do so well. Look, this is not Michael Malone's fault. That's what makes me the most frustrated. This is a scapegoat thing that makes no sense. And one of the reasons why the Denver Nuggets were one of the worst organizations in basketball my entire life was it because of dumb shit like this. Whether it be letting Dikembe Mutombo walk out the door without a contract and let him walk to the Atlanta Hawks in the late 1990s. Whether it be firing George Karl 1 season removed from winning Coach of the Year. Whether it be the whole Carmelo Anthony saga where you didn't send him to where you wanted to go, but you did send him where you wanted to go, but you just had to get rid of him because he was so toxic and couldn't deal with this organization. This is the stuff that makes that bad organizations do. Plain and simple. This is this is what pains me so much, and this is why I give so much love to the Broncos and the way they do things. It's like they take care of people that mean something to this organization. They always do. Michael Malone means something to this organization. He fucking deserves the right to finish the fucking season out.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. He deserves that right.
He's nowhere near a hot seat, but
even if he's a hot seat, which frankly, honestly, the way this team is playing, I wouldn't have. Frankly, it wasn't going well. Things are not going well. So it's not like he saves this team. This team was going to make a run. Okay.
Yes, he wasn't in the contract for life stage yet, but I go back to he's the one that put them in the successful situation. I guess here's what I'm wondering: is there any way that Jokic was part of this decision-making process?
Not like firing him, but he said we have to change something. I am almost 95%.
And that was interpreted as we need to fire our coach and GM.
Which I think he was like, you know what? Frankly, the other players in this team aren't good enough, and that's the general manager's fault. Which don't worry, Calvin Booth, you're not getting off scot fucking free. I got a good old conversation to talk to you about him. But frankly, they felt like it was just time to try something different. And it's just a slap in the face to us fans. It's a slap in the face to Nikola Jokic being like, we got to salvage this season. I didn't realize we were eliminated. I didn't realize that. Saying salvage the season with 3 games remaining, and frankly, before you lost 7 of the last 10 and lost 4 in a row, you were the 2 seed in the West? That's salvaging the season? That's my biggest thing. That's salvaging the season. Really? You're quitting. Doesn't matter who we play in the first round.
People jumped off real quick. Like that's the crazy thing. It took.
You have the best player in the world still.
No, I get that. I don't think anybody's denying that.
I'm arguing with the Cronkies, but you have the best player in the world still. Frankly, if the Jokic drops 70 points a night, we still have a chance to win, as far as I'm aware. And I don't put that past him. With the best player in the world, I still think we could win every single night. Doesn't matter who's coaching, doesn't matter what's going on. But frankly, what pisses me off more than anything is look at the moves Calvin Booth has made since he took over the general manager job from Tim Connolly. Tim Connolly was the general manager for the Denver Nuggets after Masai Ujiri, yes, that Masai Ujiri, who built the Toronto Raptors and Kawhi Leonard and that championship roster. He came in I believe it was 2016, maybe in 2017, right around there. He drafted Nikola Jokic, drafted Jamal Murray, drafted Gary Harris, brought in Aaron Gordon, brought in Paul Millsap, brought in all this core group of guys that built this team to where they brought in Michael Malone. Calvin Booth showed up, made 2 moves. He traded Monte Morris and Gary Harris for KCP, which obviously worked out nicely. Signed Bruce Brown in the offseason. Those are the 2 moves he has made in 4 years that have done anything worth a note.
I was going to say, let's bring up the other things that he's done because he brought in.
Oh, I got the list on Twitter. I got the list.
I was going to say, who's the guy that you were trying to talk yourself into and talk all of the benchwarmers into that hasn't done it fucking
Dario Saric, highest paid player on this team, hasn't played a minute since January. By the way, sixth highest paid player on the team.
And he got choked out in a nightclub. That should have been a telltale sign.
And the fifth highest paid player on the team, Zeke Naji, doesn't get minutes either, by the way.
Yeah.
What is so blasphemous about this roster is
they're holding on to Zeke. Why are they holding on to Zeke Naji like that? They're
because
holding on to him like
he's signed to the worst contract in the NBA, and nobody wants to trade for him. You have to give up a first-round pick to get rid of him. And we don't have first-round picks to get rid of because Calvin Booth traded them already for nobody. Look. These are the moves. These are the moves that Calvin Booth has made post KCP Bruce Brown deals, and that obviously win the championship. Drafted Christian Brown was good, right? Traded Jermichael Green for Peyton Watson. That was fine. Drafted Ishmael Kamagad today. That hasn't even showed up. Signed Jack White. Who? Signed Colin Gillespie. Who? Signed Bruce Brown. Good. Signed DeAndre Jordan in the year 2025. Signed or traded Will Monta of KCP. Traded Bonus Highland for 2 second-round picks. Traded Davon Reed for Thomas Bryant, who played 4 games on that championship run and hasn't played another game for the Denver Nuggets since, by the way. Signed somewhere else. Signed Reggie Jackson. Traded 2024 first-round pick and 2023 40th pick for 29th pick and 32nd pick. Drafted Julian Strother, who didn't play at all last season, by the way. Didn't play at all last season. And then drafted Jalen Pickett, who hasn't been serviceable at all at point guard. Drafted Hunter Tyson, who signed Zeke Naji to 4 years, $32 million. $8 million a year against your cap on a guy who doesn't do shit. Re-signed DeAndre Jordan. Re-signed Reggie Jackson, and then signed Justin Holiday. That is the notable moves he's made. Those are the notable moves he's made. Look, I don't know about you, but I live in 2025. I don't know. Did the clock hit when the clock hit 0 on midnight this past year? Is it 2025? Correct.
I try and live in the present moment as well.
It's 2025, right?
Yes,
Is DeAndre Jordan and Russell Westbrook the best players off the bench ever going to work for a team that plays basketball in 2025?
Are we sure that Calvin Booth knows that Harambe also passed away? Because it's like he's trying to go back.
If this
to
is 2016, it's the best second unit in fucking basketball.
Yeah,
but that was 10 years ago.
That's true.
10 years ago.
Damn it! Why you gotta say it like that?
It was 10 fucking years ago.
I know.
It's so frustrating because, frankly, Malone apparently talked behind Calvin Booth back, and frankly, the whole fucking fan base was too. And it was so annoying because, like, frankly, Michael Malone had to run 7-man rotations in fucking August and October at the beginning of the season because there wasn't worth a shit on the bench. And you want to know why? A couple of the other moves? You signed Jamal Murray to a contract that, frankly, he hasn't lived up to. 3 years in a row. 3 of the last 4 years. We have walked into the playoffs without Jamal Murray healthy. 3 of the last 4 years. You know the 1 year he was healthy? We won the fucking championship. Yeah. 3 of the last 4 years. We have walked into the playoffs.
Any favors in that situation where he was calling him fat in the public. So
we have walked into the playoffs without Jamal Murray, your second best player.
Yeah.
And this now goes for Michael Porter Jr. Because, frankly, Michael Porter Jr. has had enough bullshit off the court that obviously family stuff, that's a different problem. That's a different conversation. But, frankly, between his family getting arrested for gambling on basketball games, his family distractions, his friends' distractions, he doesn't want to play basketball. He doesn't want to be there. There's only 2 guys on this entire roster that should be here, not named Nikola Jokic. It is Christian Brown and it is Aaron Gordon. These are the only 2 dudes that show up every night when they're healthy and play their asses off. Jamal Murray, I don't know if I'm going to show up to the arena and watch a game for Jamal Murray if he's going to score 1 point in the first half or if he's going to score 30. That is your second best player on a championship roster? Nikola Jokic is in year what? 11 of his career? He was drafted in 2015?
2014.
2014, 2015. So 9th or 10th year in the league. He has not played with one NBA All-Star. One guy that was on the All-Star team with him. He has played with All-Stars past their prime. Played with Paul Millsap, who was an All-Star 4 years ago. Played with DeAndre Jordan, who was an All-Star 15 years ago. Russell Westbrook was an All-Star 10 years ago. All these guys, All-Stars 10 years ago. I'm sorry. This is the fun part or the scary part in a way, but fun part about what just transpired. And the one spot about you got to think about like this is like this is going to be a different team. Everyone's on fucking noticed. I know it's tied to anybody that's walking into this general manager role. They're only tied to one person. It is 1-5. And if you ain't about the program, get the fuck out. That is the fun part about what's happened, transpired. That is the fun part what's transpired. I think Michael Malone was the coach to do that because I think the way he's able to build this team and do that. I think, frankly, the young guys that are brought into this roster weren't good enough and, frankly, didn't have a kill or be killed mentality. And they were like feeling sorry for themselves that the coaches were being hard on them and not being hard on the best player in the world who's carrying your ass to a positive plus minus and when you're a minus 30 when you aren't on the floor with him. That's the frustrating part about it is because, like, look, this is going to be the most sought-after job in the NBA by far and away this offseason. It's not even close. It is not even close. It is going to be the most sought-after head coaching job and the most sought-after general manager job. Anyone that wants to argue with me, you're lying to yourself because everyone should be chomping at the bits to be a head coach of this team. I'm looking at a couple names specifically, which I'm going to save my token here, but I'm looking at a couple names specifically. Chauncey Billups, obviously big Denver ties. Greg Popovich. If San Antonio wants to move a different direction and Popovich still wants a coach, this is his roster, right? There are coach a coach that is not a current head coach or was a former head coach or a college coach or whatever should not even be considered for this job because we are not in a rebuilding phase. We are in a retool and refigure this out phase. And if you're a general manager, and I saw Golden State Warrior guy's name thrown around there. I can't remember his name. He works for ESPN now. But I saw his name thrown out there. I think that'd be fantastic, frankly. But like, if you're a general manager, you are licking your chops because, frankly, you see young pieces that you can move. Because let's not act like Kevin Durant will not be available this summer. The Suns aren't making the play-in. Okay, Suns have players available. There's teams out there that will have players available. Giannis may want out. There may be players out there where you could go get somebody and then not be tied to them. There's only one person that will stick with this team, is Nikola Jokic. And that's the fun part about this. And it's sickening because, like I said, lost 7 of the last 10. Lost 4 in a row, obviously up until tonight. We'll see what happens against Sacramento. And you were firmly in the 2 seed. Firmly in the 2 seed. And now you lose any game, the last 3 games, you're going to be playing in the play-in. That is it. I don't know. We can pull up the standings here in a second. It is the between 3rd or 4th place and 8th place, or they all have the same record. Is it maybe a half game difference at most at the end of this day? They all have the same record. So if I were a coach in the middle of this, either A, may be a blessing, or B, may be the biggest curse possible. You may chalk the season up. But you don't have a first-round pick this year, by the way. Let's not forget about that because you traded that away for fucking trying to get rid of Reggie Jackson, by the way. It's just so unbelievably sickening what Calvin Booth didn't do. I said this at the trade deadline. Fucking do something. Do something. It's like, we could have done this. We could have done that. You said we tried my best. No, you did not. You stuck a thumb up your ass and said, I'm going to try to do my best and act like I did something so I can just fire Michael Malone on my own. And then I can try to get my own coach in there. Because obviously they didn't get along. But instead, Kroenke said, fuck you, get the hell out. And frankly, look, it's the comments at the end of Michael Malone's last couple games really probably is the one that triggered the horn for getting Malone fired. The players aren't watching film. Players don't care. This thing, they calling players out. And the ownership probably saw that and be like, you know what, we just got to clean house. And you know what? It sucks. I love Michael Malone. He deserves better. He's the winningest coach in NBA history. He will get a job somewhere next year. I'm almost guaranteeing it. He will be one of the best coaches available on the coaching shirts next year. I am just very eager to see what happens because these last 3 games, I don't know. I honestly, it could go either way. We could lose all 3. We could be the 8th seed in the West and try to hopefully win the play-in. If not, maybe even miss the playoffs. Because if you're in the play-in, you could miss the playoffs entirely. And we could fall in a situation where we're back to ground zero. And that's because this team, it's organizational malpractice. That's the thing. It's organizational malpractice. And that's what the most frustrating part is because I thought we were past that. I really thought we were past that.
Yeah. We'll leave the Nuggets at that point now. We'll get into the playoff races coming up. Before we do that,
one more thing. The thing that makes me the most sick, I think, is that everybody thinks Nikola Jokic is available.
There's no way.
Motherfucker signed for 4 more years. So go ahead. Put him in a Lakers uniform. Knock yourself out. Put him in a Mavericks uniform. Go ahead. He signed for another 4 more years. And this motherfucker, if for any reason the new general manager walks in the door, thinks that trading Nikola Jokic is a good idea,
oh my God,
I will burn down Ball Arena myself.
Yeah, no, man. For legal reasons.
Go ahead. Like I said, knock yourself out with the mock-ups. Put the mock-up trades out there. Knock yourself out. Unless Nico Harrison gets fired in the next 24 hours and then gets the Nuggets job, Nikola Jokic isn't going anywhere, you fuckers. So go ahead.
For legal reasons, that was a hypothetical situation, but I don't want to test it. I don't want to test it for legal reasons. I don't want to test it. I don't think that that's a possibility, but God damn it, that would be. Oh, I think we would have to.
I will never watch basketball.
We would have to close down school.
I will never watch basketball again. I will never watch basketball again. I'm not joking.
I don't deny that at all.
I'm not joking. I am not joking.
You would become me. You would become me and be like, "Who are these guys? What
I will tell my dad to roughly sell your season tickets. We are not putting any money into this fucking organization the rest of my life, and I am quitting basketball altogether. You think I'm joking? I will become the biggest hockey nerd you'll ever see. I'm dead serious. You think I'm lying, and I wouldn't mind it because you have to actually bring me life.
I was gonna say you get away from the Cronkies, except you turn to the hockey team and you're like, "Fuck, there you are again. There you are again." At least we didn't sell out opening day. So the Rockies sellout streak at home is done. So now we have one owner that needs to get fired, starting to get a little bit of comeuppance. I don't think that Kroenke needs to be fired, but God, I just feel like there could have been such a different handle of this situation.
It's why this organization has been noted as one of the worst organizations in its sports history. It's because of shit like this. That's the only way of explaining it. It's like we are not known as a consistently good organization. We are not known as one of the all-time greats. We've been around for fucking 50 plus years. Yeah. It's not like this organization just came around like the Toronto Raptors or the fucking Orlando Magic, okay? The organization's been around for 50, 60, 70 years, okay? And that's the part that's like we've been around for that long. We've been mid at best for so long, and we finally got over the hump, and now we're throwing it away. That's the most frustrating part. And that's why we're going right back to where we were.
You could feel it when we were on the championship run. We were talking about it a little bit when we were out in Vegas, like going to the camps in other states. Like people when you tell people you're from Colorado, depending on who you're talking to, they'll ask you 1 or 3 questions. But if you talk to somebody from New York, which is a big basketball state, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry about the Nuggets," because they never do anything positive. They got lucky. Let's not sugarcoat it. Yeah. I know that we're talking about greatness. That was the biggest blessing. The blessing of the case Dorito.
We struck fucking gold. We struck fucking gold.
For the third time in our state's history, we struck fucking gold.
We struck fucking gold somehow with the greatest player that will ever step foot in this organization. And with a second-round pick from a no-name fucking city in Serbia called
Case Dorito was on the screen.
Exactly. We don't deserve much else, okay? We got so fucking lucky, it's actually hilarious.
Yeah, it's hard to complain when you think back to how lucky everything got. We'll talk more about NBA and NHL when we talk about the playoff races. Before we get into that, let's go back. Monday night, national championship. Actually, let's go to the Final Four because the Final Four had one of the biggest surprises. Yeah, and I know everybody was very, very happy because we were all in the same boat. Like, damn, this Duke team is just that good. John Shire is not Coach K. How can I hate this Duke team? Oh, they choked in the biggest moment possible. Like I said, choking that hard, normally you have to, it's behind a paywall, and you're not supposed to be under a certain age if you're watching that. Damn. Oh, I'm sorry. It was Houston, right? Houston said, "Excuse me? You're not going to the national championship game. You want those rebounds, Cooper Flag? You better fight through my elbows to get those rebounds." Houston played I said it. I was actually just listening back to last week's episode, going through all of the mess that we have to deal with, being the most controversial podcast in the world. And I said, maybe Houston figures out something. Maybe they lay the blueprint. Well, the blueprint is they fight like fucking banshees for rebounds. I've never seen a team. You've seen the video. Have you ever put a team that you've coached through that drill?
I mean, I try to replicate it in some ways where kids just go at each other, but it's not
It's never that physical. It's never that intense. They're like pushing each other into the sidewall. They're out of bounds fighting for the basketball. There is no, they're going to the whistle.
With 30 seconds left in the game, Duke was up by 6. That is, for those that don't watch college basketball, the shot clock is 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So say they hit a 3, right? Say they hit a 3. They did. They hit a 3. 3-point game. All right. Inbound the ball to your best free throw shooter. 1-1. Not calmness anymore. I know it's not calmness, but 1-1. Shoot just 1-1, right? You got to think, let's get the ball to our best free throw shooter. Kneppel, right? Cooper Flag. Let's get the ball to our best free throw shooter. Instead, you give the ball to 67% free throw shooting point guard, Proctor. And Proctor just comes up and misses the front end of 1-on-1. And I just sit there and I'm like, I saw a statistic before you even threw it in. I was like, why are you throwing him the ball? Get rid of the fucking ball. Get rid of the ball. You know you're not confident. You know you're not confident. Get the ball out of your hands. God damn. You have shooters all across the team. Get the ball out of your hands. And Houston just never said die attitude. Kept crawling back, getting loose balls. Got that offensive rebound underneath the basket that got them within 1 point. And then obviously they hit the 2-point basket as well to get them even more of a lead. To get them
analytics.
Lead.
What?
It was a. It's why Houston is gotten so good. It's why Houston has really grown as a program too.
I want to bring this to you. Is that it's similar? Obviously they didn't win the national championship, but that's similar to what we were talking about with Wyatt Hendrickson, where you see a collective of a team take that extra step forward. They weren't supposed to do that. You weren't supposed to win that game.
I take that back. I wouldn't say they weren't supposed to do that because Houston is one of the best teams in the country. Plain and simple. That's not giving them.
How long has Kelvin Sampson been there? 50, 60, 150 years?
He's been there for a long time, and this is his second Final Four in the last 3 years. And like I said, he's done a great job. Houston, let's not act like Houston is not this all-time program. This program
coming from the AAC 2 years ago, they owned the Big 12.
But they also, this program had the likes of Clyde Drexler. Ever heard of him? Hakeem Olajuwon.
I actually have.
Him?
I actually have.
Heard of them? All-time great basketball players in the program's history. So this isn't some like fucking Louisiana Lafayette school, okay? They're not like a bunch of nobodies. Houston has a good basketball program, okay? So let's stop on that little sugar mill. It's not Duke, okay, but it's still a very good program. But like, what I saw from Houston is like they fought and clawed. And frankly, like Duke just got complacent. They got complacent. Cooper Flag missing the free throw. Frankly, look, he left it short on that game winner. He had that game winner. It was the move he wanted. Spin around over the top. Look, he just left it way short. And something I talk about when I look at like stadium versus non-stadium games and how basketball shouldn't be played in a stadium and blah blah blah. When you play in a football stadium with a basketball arena, the depth perception changes everything. I'm not. This is basketball nerd talk here. So when I played in high school, obviously we played in a smaller gym. There's a fucking wall against the backboard. There's no stands. There's very few stadiums, but there's not many stands behind a basket. There is a wall right behind it. When we played in the Elite Eight and we went to Coliseum here in Denver, we played in a stadium where the depth perception changed everything. You have to look further back. Well, extend that by another fucking mile. And that's what you have in a football stadium.
So you're not going to play into the Cooper Flag struggled in all the close games this year narrative?
I'm going to play into the factor that frankly, like he left that short because the depth perception is different. Cooper Flag is the best.
It wasn't because he was hearing footsteps and he wasn't able to stand up to the physicality of Houston.
I'm not going to go that far because Cooper Flag is the best freshman, frankly, that I've ever seen play college basketball. I think I don't think that's even.
Well, here's my question: why not come back after that performance? Why not come back and prove? I get it's going to be the injury risk, and I know that the NBA contracts, whatever he's going to get in NIL, the NBA contract is going to add 2 zeros to that salary. I get it.
You're delaying the Supermax contract by a year. That's the argument.
But as a coach, I'm like, that dude needs one more season as just the
I don't know about that. I take that back. I don't know.
Not talent wise, but the mentality wise, the sports psychology wise. I see him and I'm like, have 1 year where you think that you're that dude, but every time that you were challenged this year, it was not good.
Look, unfortunately, Duke plays in the ACC, which has like 3 good schools in it, where he's not going to get challenged mentally like that. Okay, frankly, it's not the depth of good teams in college basketball. If we learned anything from March Madness, is not as good as other sports. Okay, so that's a way different story. And I think we'll have this conversation in the offseason. It's like, I think it depends on who gets the number 1 pick. Because frankly, I hope to God he doesn't go to basketball hell in Washington. I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't mind him in Charlotte with LaMelo and Brandon Knight. I think that could be a fun role. I think he would be decent in Utah. I think that'd be a good role where they could rally around him. Frankly, Utah would really around him.
Great,
exactly.
White hope.
There are situations where I think it's absolutely torturous if he ends up there, and situations that I think he's way better off with.
And I end up in Los Angeles somehow.
Well, I think it'll be Charlotte, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
The Duke ties and everything, I think that'd be a dream scenario if you're a Hornets fan to have LaMelo and have Brandon Knight, who obviously drafted last year with Cooper Flag. That'd be a great 3 years of draft picks to build around, and that could change that franchise's whole tenure around. But like, it's a conversation for another day, but Cooper Flag is the best freshman talent I've ever seen, and I've watched a lot of college basketball in my life, and he was that good. Frankly, he just came up short, and it is all kudos to how good Houston was, not necessarily how bad he was.
Let's look at the other side. We had Todd Golden, Florida, beat Bruce Pearl and Auburn. Auburn, under Bruce Pearl, is I know that they love football more than anything in Alabama, but Auburn has had way more success as a basketball program than they have as a football program since Bruce Pearl has been the head coach of their basketball team.
That's not even a lie.
It's an objective fact. Like, you can't argue that. I know that they throw the toilet paper for the football wins, but they should be paying more attention to their basketball program. And I think that Bruce Pearl is a better man than the guy that left Maryland. So he's not going to do. Yeah. He's not going to do what Willard did.
He is a Southern guy, and that is a premier program. Auburn is a premier program. Maryland, I'm sorry, it's not a premier basketball program. It's a premier lacrosse program.
Nico, we want Scott Van Pelt on this show. We got to glaze the shit out of Maryland.
It's a premier lacrosse program. It's one of the best in the country. It's not a premier basketball program.
I don't think SVP is going to come on and talk about lacrosse. I just don't think that's in the cards.
But like, Auburn is what I saw from his Auburn team. Like, they were a damn good team, right? Janai Broome is one of the best players in the country for a reason.
He was the guy playing with one arm, wasn't he?
He was the lefty. No, Baker Mazzara was the guard who was playing with one arm basically and was still shooting the lights out of the ball. Auburn really had a ton of heart. But the difference between Florida and Auburn was that more guys stepped up as a unit around this team for the 40 years as opposed to Auburn. Obviously, Walter Clayton with the 34-point masterpiece. He was unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable in that semifinal against Auburn. But I look at the depth of that team, right? Condon in the middle. He was absolutely dominating the boards. You look at Bog, the sixth man, the blonde sixth man. He was shooting the lights out from the ball. Elijah Martin, who basically who took off from the free throw line, looked like a Jumpman logo dunk, and finished it against Auburn. Like this team had all the pieces, frankly, that Auburn was just lacking depth wise. And frankly, Auburn, I said it as we got into the tournament the last couple of weeks, is like Auburn is limping into these matchups. They're playing with their food. They're better than these teams, but frankly, they're not beating them as much as they should. And frankly, when they had I believe it was a 14-point lead at one time, they got outscored by 14 points in the second half by Florida, right? That's something that's crazy to think about with how fast the game is. And how
Florida had 2 double-digit comebacks in the second half in the Final Four and the national championship.
But like what I saw from Florida, Clayton and company, like they really just wanted it more, and Auburn was just happy to be there. This is an Auburn team also that like has never been to the championship. They've been to the Final Four multiple times, but they've never been to the national championship. And Florida hasn't been there in a very, very long time, and they want more. And like I said, this is We'll talk about Walter Clayton here more in a little bit, but like, plain and simple, like these are two teams that play each other during the regular season, two SEC teams, two coaches that are very familiar with each other. With the Florida coach, obviously, or Golden, or is it Gold? Right, okay.
Golden, yeah,
Golden coaching under Bruce Pearl when he first got his job in college basketball. Like, it's two programs know very, very well, and in Florida, it was just basically wanting more.
I think Florida, we talked about it at the end of the conference tournament. They won the SEC, which this season was the best basketball conference. Yeah. Big East was down. Big Ten was good, but
Big 12 was iffy too. Big 12 was
and
iffy.
The Big 12, besides Houston, was pretty much was nobody. That was the most competitive basketball conference, and Florida went right through that tournament, and they were the hottest team, and they continued to be the hottest team, and they used their best players to their advantage. I love social media. The best thing that I saw, Walter Clayton's so good you forget his first name is Walter. he's so cold you forget his first name is Walter. I was like, that's true. The last time anybody cool was named Walter was Walter Payton, and that was when Walter was a normal name. Walter Clayton, in the national championship especially, but the Final Four round 2, he's a big part of these double-digit comebacks that we're talking about. Todd Golden at 39 becomes the youngest head coach since the 1980s to win a national championship. And I think they were chosen 4th by Ken Palm standings, but these were the best teams that we've seen for a long time in these 2 rounds of the tournament, and Florida was just better.
Yeah, and I mean, going into this final, like with Houston, like Houston came up to a big lead, right? They're coming up to a big lead, but one thing I just saw from Florida was like they just kept chipping away. Who
was willing to shoot and who was it? Because look at the final sequence of the game. Florida shoots, they make a basket. Houston has the chance. They never get a shot up.
And it's very fitting that the ball is rolled on the ground and that Florida dives for it and they can pick up the ball, and that's how they win the game with all the videos that came out of Houston. But like with this Florida team, like I said, but like I saw a lot of great things out of a lot of guys. Like Walter Clayton. This was his Kemba cardiac moment, I'm sorry, and I may be outdating myself here a little bit, but this was his moment, right?
Scoreless in the first half.
Scoreless in the first half. Drop, I believe, finished with 14, or maybe it was 12. I can't remember off the top of my head. 11, right there, double digits. Like came up big in the second half of his team. They were usually using Condon, who was in foul trouble for most of the game, on the boards really well. I saw a lot of great things out of Elijah Martin, who's locking up LJ Cryer, who LJ Cryer was one of the best offensive, or not one of, if not the best player offensively for Houston this whole tournament. And this team just wanted more, plain and simple. And like, it's weird saying that because when you're down like that in a championship game, like they were, like it is easy to roll over. Like look at the last 2 national championships. UConn just obliterated the last 2 teams. Or frankly, I don't even remember who they played. Do you? I don't.
The year before that, Baylor and Texas Tech too. I mean,
it was a blowout too, right? Right. Florida could have laid down. They could have laid down, and frankly, Walter Clayton and I listened to Mark Titus, who's a Barstool personality, who is a big college basketball guy, and he said he was at the game and he was walking by the press room to go get water, or whatever, from his seat, and he said, on that walkway, he walks by the locker room. That's just how the setup is behind there. And he said Todd Golden ripped into their asses at halftime. Basically said, "Do you want this? Is this how you want your time to end? This is what you want to be remembered for?" And basically mother effed them, mother effed them until they couldn't, and like I said, this fight from this team was incredible. And like I said, this is Walter Clayton is now etched in history. I think about the Mario Chalmers shot. I think about Kemba's run. I think about Shabazz Napier's run. I think about those Russ Smith's teams. I think about those John Wall Kentucky teams. This is Walter Clayton's time. And like Florida, Florida is not necessarily a football school or a basketball school because let's not forget, when Florida was winning national championships with Tebow, they were also winning national championships in basketball. I understand football is bigger, but they were the only team, I believe, in the last at least 100 years that has ever won a national championship in basketball and football in the same calendar or in the same school year. Yep. Calendar year is different in the same school year. And Florida, like I said, Florida is a program that had Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer, Al Horford, company, Mike Miller, Jason Williams, all that. Walter Clayton may be one of the best point guards, if not the best point guard, to play the college ranks for Florida. And that is all the kudos to him and what this team did.
And it was a defensive play that sealed the national championship. It wasn't him scoring. Like we said, no points in the first half, only finishes with 11. But it was the toughness that they showed, and they responded. That's the biggest thing. You can still coach people hard in big situations, and it works out. We were coached very difficult. Like, we got yelled at quite a bit. We got mother effed more times than I can count before I turned, 14? I thought coaches dropping F-bombs at you was that's how they show you they love you, right? No, Todd Golden deserves all the credit. And I think too, it's like the last 3 years we've seen what coaching does. That's what won in this tournament. It's good teams, it's very talented teams, it's very talented players, but the coaches challenge their kids and they get the most out of them. Dan Hurley with UConn the last 2 years, Todd Golden this year with Florida. It would have been the same situation if Duke was able to get past Houston. I feel like they have a really good shot of beating Florida, but who knows? It was the coaching that pushed the kids to this point. Kelvin Sampson, too, deserves a lot of credit.
Yes.
Like we said, he's been at Houston forever. He has that program going in a way where they're always going to win their conference championship, and damn it, you don't want to see them in the tournament. They were the fourth number one seed this year, and they were a split second away from winning a national championship.
As long as Kelvin Sampson's at the helm, I am almost 90% positive that Houston will win a national championship at one point. Because frankly, Houston is a hotbed. Houston's a hotbed for basketball, and frankly, they're continuing to build something special over there. And if you are a transfer, if you're a freshman, and you want to think about going somewhere, Kelvin Sampson will treat you right, A, and B, get you mentally and physically prepared to win a national championship, and they'll eventually get there. I'm almost positive they will.
I think it'll be it's just a matter of time. We're going a little bit long, so let's get into the playoff conversation that we were having. I have the NBA standings pulled up first, so I'll go ahead and throw those up on the screen. Let's talk about the West.
We're recording this on Wednesday, by the way. Things are changing very quickly. We know. Every single day they're changing.
Let's talk about the West first. So I'll throw that up on the screen, and I'll let you go because I know this is what you were talking about when we were discussing Calvin Booth, Michael Malone, and the Denver Nuggets. They went from the 2 seed now to the 5 seed, and they are in a 4-way tie from 4 seed to 7 seed, and have the possibility of going all the way down to possibly 9 seed, 10 seed, those kinds of things. It's not looking good.
With the Lakers win tonight against Dallas, the best this team can do is 4th. Lakers have the tiebreaker over us, and if you get the 4th seed, what does that mean?
You got OKC
in the second round. If you get that far, if you get that far, if that's the big if, as you get that far. So that's the thing that scared me the most, and why I was so harping on stay 2-3, stay 2-3. Doesn't matter if you get the 3 seed, stay 2-3, and now you're gonna have to go through OKC if you want to worth a shot. Look, I don't even think we need to talk about the East because, frankly, that Eastern Conference standing-wise has been locked up
Cleveland,
for a couple of weeks. It's Cleveland and Boston as 1 and 2. 3 through 8 is basically staying.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for coming out. It's already been there. It's Cleveland. It's Boston. It's maybe Milwaukee. But Dame, they probably won't have Dame. Maybe New York if they're lucky. And that's sorry if you're a fan of the other teams. You're a fan of Detroit and Orlando and Miami. What did Daryl Sutter say? Waste of 7 days. Waste of a week.
Anybody who has to play Colorado is a waste of 7
days. Basically be a waste of a week for you when you have to play the top teams in the East. Okay, so we can just move on from that. 4 through 8 all have the same records.
Yes.
4 through 7 all have the same records. 8 seed has the Timberwolves have one less or have one more loss than they do win. There's one game that separates the teams from 8 seed and having a home game in the playoffs, having a home round in the playoffs. And I'm sitting here and I am watching this unfold. And frankly, this is what's made me so frustrated the last 2 weeks and why I frankly have just been refusing to talk about it and refusing to watch games is because when you lose 7 of your last 10, If you do that in December or January, you can recover. You can recover. You do that the last 3 weeks of the NBA season, you all of a sudden fall from, oh, we can have a home series at home. We can fight through the playoffs run through Denver, maybe 2 rounds, to becoming, fuck, we got to go to where to start? Right? We got to go to where to start? We got to maybe go to Minnesota.
Crypto.com arena, right? That's where the Clippers play?
No, Clippers are in the Intuit Dome now. The new.
Oh, yeah, the Intuit
Dome. Like, you got to go to where now? It's like you got to – it's just a big headache in why you're doing this. And frankly, like, if I look at the teams between 4 through 8, I find it hard to believe any of these teams are going to beat the Thunder. I'm dead serious. Golden State's not beating Oklahoma City. They've had a fun run. I know our friends over there at Golden State are enjoying Jimmy Butler over there. They're doing fine. They don't feel like a shot. We don't have a fucking chance in the world. I am putting that plain out in sight. We will get swept, or maybe gentlemen swept against Oklahoma City at the Thunder playoffs. The Clippers, they're a big what if, because when Kawhi's healthy, he's good. But we've been saying if Kawhi's healthy the last 3 years, and that's their big problem. Memphis Grizzlies, John Morant's throwing grenades into the fucking stands as a celebration. So that's what they're worrying about. And they
John, we should have been more clear. You can't have real guns, and you can't hold fake guns either.
By the way, who also fired their coach last week, a week before the postseason started. So we did 3 games before. They did.
Is the NBA even real? Is the NBA even fucking real?
Opera. It is the best soap opera ever.
It's more scripted than the WWE. I watched a promo between Jey Uso and Gunter last night that makes more fucking sense than what the Nuggets. It's the greatest soap opera
of all time. And then you look at Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't want to show up to half their games, but they have Anthony Edwards, so who knows what they'll look like. I don't.
Did you see that Anthony Edwards story? I know that's off the rails. Did you see what he did?
I don't know.
These young bloods don't play. He's like, you want to bleed me dry for 18 years of child support? What's the total number? And I'll pay that. The Timberwolves are paying child support for half the inner city's population of Minnesota right now.
I don't know, man. It's why I love basketball so much and why I hate it at the same time, because like it'll never get boring to me.
The stories outside of the game are so much better than the stories inside.
It'll never get boring to me. It'll never in my life get boring. NBA Twitter will never die. As far as I'm alive. It is not NBA X. It's NBA Twitter will never die. As far as I'm alive, NBA Twitter will be the greatest creation to mankind of all time. Okay, because frankly, like it's if you are a Washington Wizards fan, because I know there's only 5 of you out there. If you're a Washington Wizards fan, you gotta be like, man, the NBA is kind of fun to watch when your team doesn't have a foot in all these races. Like, wow, that's wild. Luka got traded. Wow, that's wild. The Nuggets fired their coach 3 games for the season. Wow, that's wild. They're yelling fire GM counts when our team can't even put up 80 points a game. That must be, if you are a diehard basketball fan and a Wizards fan, I pity you. I would enjoy that. Just knowing your ass, just knowing you suck, and not having to worry about anything. It's just like, I'm just here to watch ball and just enjoy the game. Watch basketball, enjoy the game. And I don't have to worry about my team ever stressing me out because they're going to suck. And I know they're going to suck. And just doing dumb things. And it's just like, all right, well, I live in basketball hell, so I guess I'll just enjoy the ride and enjoy watching basketball. It must be fun. Must be fun because I'm pulling my hair out every chance I get watching this team that I care about too much. And like I said, I said this multiple times on the show. The Nuggets are my number 1 team. I've always been a basketball guy. I love the Broncos to death. It's 1A, 1B, okay? I love the Broncos, but the Nuggets have always treated me well, and basketball was my first love, okay? Melo, Chauncey. Well. When I was little, let me make that very, very clear. When I was little, Chauncey, Melo, Allen Iverson, it was fun. It was fun to do that, okay? It was fun. That's where I grew up on. It was fun for me, okay? For a while, they didn't treat me well. Then, obviously, they come back, and this is fun again, okay? But, like, this has always been my number 1 team, and that's why it just hurts me so much. It's just like, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this. I really don't. And I see it just like look.
Don't think about it.
Like, see this motherfucker is on place for my team. This motherfucker plays for my team. MVP. See that? 3-time MVP. That motherfucker plays for my team. This
don't
little memorabilia I got less than 2 years ago. Less than 2 years ago. Sat on my desk for 2 years. I'm gonna dust it off a little bit. I should have grabbed it like that. Pause. But it sat on my desk for 2 years. Okay, like this is my prime. It doesn't like I am going to reminisce on the glory days of the Denver Nuggets when I am 60 years old. I will tell my grandkids and show them highlights, not a Tavon Austin. I will show them Nikola Jokic 70-point highlights, triple-double highlights, okay? And watch, this is what basketball looks like, okay? I will show them and be like, this is what cured your grandpa or your father's happiness in his life. This is what made him the man he is. This man doing what he did made him this way, okay? So we have to figure this out because I enjoyed that championship so much. I enjoyed it so much. It was the most beautiful thing ever. Most beautiful thing ever. Climbing to the mountaintop with guys that are all homegrown talent, homegrown coaching staff, homegrown everything. Most beautiful thing ever. And frankly, now our next championship is going to have to be a bot championship because we can't do homegrown shit anymore. Fuck it. I'll buy a championship. What's up, LeBron? What's up, KD? You want to come play for us? How you doing? How you doing? Because I will buy a championship. I am past the doing things the right way. Okay, I want another championship. I've tasted it. I need another.
My name is Enzo Amore, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud. Speaking of teams that I would do anything for, it's my team that they represent Colorado to me. We'll get to the East. I don't want to talk about them. I want to talk about the Colorado Avalanche. We've clinched a playoff spot, so we know damn well
we have nearly clinched playing the Dallas Stars for 2 weeks now.
It's gonna be. It's going to be the Stars. There's no doubt about it in my mind. I don't think anything else is going to change about that. And I think that that's the best thing for the team that we have this year. That's just you got to get it out of the way. And I'd rather get it out of the way when everybody's healthy. I don't want to know what's going to happen in the first round of the playoffs. There's going to be a lot of guys that don't make it into the second round. Whoever wins this series, I listen to the Chicklets guys a lot. They've been talking about playoff format. I don't know if it would change anything. It does kind of suck that that's going to be the first round of the playoffs, and I know that it's a good matchup, but I would like to see these are two teams worthy of playing in the conference championship. And I don't think that there's that many teams in the Pacific that deserve to be in the conference championship the way that the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars do this year.
There's one team, frankly, it's probably Vegas, and that's about it. Edmonton hasn't been very good. The Kings, frankly, are in the playoffs because there has to be a third team in the Pacific. And St. Louis and Minnesota, I don't know. St. Louis has been hot. I'm not going to lie. St. Louis has been very hot. They've won 10 of the last games or something, or maybe it's 10 of the last 12. I don't even know. But they've been insane. They're
9-1-0 in their last 10.
Either way, exactly. Insane split. So they've been red hot. I understand it's cute. It's a cute story, but frankly, we know where the West is going to be won. And you want to know why they will never change this format or won't change it for a very long time? It's because of the money. The money. I'm telling you right now, when Oklahoma City Thunder sweep the fucking Memphis Grizzlies in round 1 of the playoffs, no one's going to watch that. When the Dallas Stars and Mikko Rantanen walk into play against
I had a kid walk in a Mikko Rantanen Colorado Avalanche jersey today. I almost lost
when they walk into Denver, it is going to when they walk into Denver, it is going to be must-watch TV.
I almost lost my shit.
It is going to be must-watch TV. It is going to be must-watch TV, and that's why Gary Bettman was like, "Why would I change it? Everybody's watching hockey. I don't care. Let the good teams beat the shit out of each other and make it difficult on them. I don't care. People are watching hockey." That's what Gary Bettman sounds like. I'm not lying. It's like people are watching hockey.
I had a moment this morning, Nico. I get out of my classroom. What? I booed him. I booed him walking into the classroom. It was like, boo.
I will say it is very tempting. I almost bought one. I'll be honest with you. It's very tempting when I saw a $80 stitched nice Mikko Rantanen jersey in the shop the other day. A jersey that's $250. I would have considered it. I almost considered it. If he was still in Carolina and signed with Carolina, I would have. I'll be honest with you, I would have.
In my video game, he hasn't left the Colorado Avalanche, but anytime that I play the Avalanche, I fight him as many fucking times as I can in that game.
I would have considered it. Is all I'm going to say, because the hockey jerseys are not cheap, and it's a nice-ass jersey for $80 as opposed to $250.
I will one day be able to
his jersey was probably
Nico.
his jersey was probably $40, to be honest with you. So that's what I will say.
He's had it forever because it's one of the old Stadium Series ones. So it's not like I get what I'm doing is wrong because I'm booing a 12-year-old as he walks in with the jersey that he's just happy that he has, and I get it. I just can't get over that. I can't get over that fact. But I also should probably get over it because we've done everything that we needed to outside of that move. And if he wasn't going to stay for the money that we wanted to offer him, I go back to that Ryan Whitney clip. He chose to leave. If he wanted to be here, he could have worked out a way to be here. He never made. He
may have not chosen where to go, but he chose to leave.
He either never let it get that far or his agent never let it get that far. And that's not on the player, but that's the unfortunate extension in the NHL. So I blame Mikko Rantanen for that. I don't like him. I hope that he has as little success as possible with the Dallas Stars moving forward. A, I hate the Dallas Stars organization. And B, I don't like the way that things ended here. It is not going to be. We've said it the last 2 years. It is not going to be what this Stanley Cup run was. We are not going to only lose 4 games if this goes the way that we want it to go. We have a chance. I think this is the best team since the Stanley Cup team to go into the playoffs. It might be better, but the issue is that all of the other teams are pretty much way better around you too. The Stars are going to be a hell of a matchup in the first round. I think that's almost guaranteed. I think that's definitely guaranteed 6, almost guaranteed 7 in the first round. Winnipeg might have something to say this year in the postseason. They've sucked the last 2 years.
We'll see.
Who knows?
We said that last year.
Vegas is sitting right there. Vegas has Jack Eichel, who is just playing for the Four Nations Championship too. Mark Stone. And they love their LTIR money. They're going to have somebody come back.
And Edmonton will squeak in the playoffs because their division sucks. And there's still McDavid and Draisaitl over there.
McDavid and Draisaitl.
The West is
really good players.
The West is still the best for a reason. So it's annoying, but I mean, I know I haven't felt this confidence since the Avs since they won. I remember back to that 2022 postseason, and when we had the show and we talked about it all. And like I had the same feelings I think I had that year going to the playoffs as I do this year with the Avs and Nuggets. Nuggets, Jamal Murray was injured. It was like, okay, let's just see what happens. Who knows what's going to happen? Let's see what happens. Basically, the Nuggets, obviously no injuries, but it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. Just see what happens, and maybe win a round or see what happens. Avs, I see this roster built, and I'm like, I don't see a hole. I didn't see a hole 3 years ago with 2022 team. I don't see a hole with this team. The only hole that this team may have is like the depth pieces at defense and maybe the depth pieces on offense if injuries occur. And that's a worst case scenario. It's a worst case scenario. So I don't know. This team looks great. Like Blackwood and Wedgwood have looked so good. So really good. EJ looks like himself again. McKinnon is flying around. Brock Nelson looks like he's having so much fun playing with Nichushkin and Lehkonen. Like he's enjoying the hell out of himself. This team will be. This team is very good. This team is very, very good. I'm not going to say Stanley Cup favorite, but this team is right up there with everybody. I think talent wise.
And I think too, we should bring up. I feel more comfortable about the goaltending even over the Stanley Cup year, because yes, Darcy Kemper had an amazing season, but there was always that question of what was going to happen, and then obviously he got poked in the eye with the head of a stick in the first round, so it was even more exacerbated. Looking at the Eastern Conference, who in the Eastern Conference do you think will? Is it Florida? Are they going to be able to repeat like what Tampa Bay was able to do? Is it Washington? Who? Let's see. What does the Y mean? The Y means they've clinched their division title. So we know Washington will be division champions, and they're 3 points behind in the President's Trophy race. So they have a chance, but we'll see what happens there. Obviously, we talked about the Ovechkin goal. Well, what do you think is going to happen in the Eastern Conference?
I mean, Florida is just the team that just keeps standing out to me, right? They really struggled the past 10 games, 4-5-1, their last 10, obviously. But they just got Marchand back healthy. Like that's they haven't played with their full group here in a minute, right? Kachuk has been injured. He looks like is he back? I don't even remember off the top of my head actually.
They're expecting him hopefully sometime in the playoffs.
So he could be returning back in playoffs, but you don't want to face Florida. You do not want to face Florida. Tampa Bay has looked very good. Vasilevsky looks very good. Obviously, Kucherov has done well. Capitals are a team that, frankly, they lack star talent. That's their biggest problem, and obviously outside of the grade 8, that's the difference between this team. So let's see if their younger guys can continue this stretch in the playoffs. That's what Winnipeg struggled with the last couple of years. It's what Edmonton struggled with before the Cup run last year. So let's see what happens there. Carolina, Stankoven looks like he's been very, very good for them ever since that bringing him over, which helps them a lot. They're a team that's just been such a fucking whirlwind of a season. Who knows what they look like? Toronto. Sorry, I had to pause. I wanted to laugh real quick because I don't even need to talk about them. Who are they going to lose the first round? Ottawa. Are they Ottawa first round? Or are they the Islanders first round? Who do they got in the first round? What does the wild card situation look like?
Let's see. It would be they would have Montreal.
Oh, that's even funnier. That's even funnier. Montreal, who by the way, Ottawa, longest playoff drought in 4 major sports. So they just broke it. Congratulations to them. They're a first round exit, but congratulations. So let's give them a hand for that. But that would be, I would laugh. I would get a good chuckle. Maybe the Islanders sneak in if it's not Montreal, or Detroit sneaks in. I mean, it's an 8-point difference. What am I kidding? It's going to be Montreal. But like I'm gonna laugh. I'll take a good laugh and a good chuckle at that when they lose to their fellow Canadian brethren. A lot of Canadian teams in this year. I think almost nearly all of them.
Yeah,
right?
I do think that they're except for maybe Vancouver. Vancouver's the only one that I have not seen yet.
Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Calgary is a fringe team, but
Calgary is also. I think it's Calgary and Vancouver are
all the Canadian teams. Congratulations, you're going to make the playoffs. You are now my employee. You are now my elite employee. Now we have almost every single team with a chance to break the 30-year curse.
At 31.
31, excuse me.
Yeah,
31
it's getting up there. It's out almost. If nobody happens this year, it's 32 years. I think it's crazy what's going to happen with the playoffs. Let's look at our top five unbreakable records. I'm going to let you go first. I'll throw yours up on the screen. Here we go.
My unbreakable records, obviously quotation unbreakable records. My first 2 just happened. I didn't put it. I can't put a number next to it because they're in counting. But Ovi goal record 895 and counting. Obviously, he'll probably get past 900 here soon, and it's going to take. I looked at. I saw a statistic of like how long some of these players need to play. Nathan McKinnon needs to play at his current rate until 2040. Which, frankly, if he does that, I mean, I'm very happy.
Yes,
I enjoy it.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. I will happily take that. Okay, I will happily take that. It's going to take a long time. Paul Bissonnette will get it by the year 40-30. I saw, so he's getting up there. He's got a good chance at it too. It's going to take a long ass time. Someone to play 20 years with a near 50-year goal, 50 or 40 plus goal per season average. Yeah. It is going to take a miraculous effort from Connor McDavid to consistently do it. So obviously Sidney Crosby is the closest one. He's slowing down, so he's not going to touch it. It's going to take a miraculous player to beat that. So that's why it's number 1 for me. Number 2, LeBron points record. It just got passed 2 years ago now. Was it 2 years ago? No, 3 years ago now. Excuse me, 3 years ago now. Yeah. When he passed Kareem, LeBron will hold that record for however long he wants. Because let's not sugarcoat it. There is not an 18-year-old, probably alive currently, that is going to walk into the NBA and play until they're 40 years old and be able to average 25 plus a game. Every single other year of their career. Bodies take wear down. If it's able to, in my lifetime, I will be the first one to raise. Be like, wow, that's incredible. But it is going to take a long-ass time for someone to play 20-plus seasons, 40 years old, and be able to do that. It's going to take a long time. Number 3, Bill Russell's 11 rings as a player. Obviously, 2 of those at the end were player coach. So you take that what you will. But Bill Russell won 8 straight NBA championships. There will be never I almost can guarantee this. There will never be a team win 8 championships in my life in a row. That'll never happen. Any sport. It'll never happen. Bill Russell doing that, winning 11 rings in basketball. He has the most rings in basketball history. I don't know what the count is for baseball and what the count is for NFL and hockey.
It's nowhere near 11.
It's nowhere near 11.
I can guarantee you that.
Somewhere near 11. So 11 championships, Bill Russell, I don't think that will ever be touched. It's something that's really special. Number 4, it's Masters Week, by the way. Happy Masters Week. For those that aren't dying under a rock, scratching their head off, worrying about NBA and NHL playoffs, it's Masters Week. So happy Masters Week. Jack Nicklaus with 18 majors. 18 major championships will never be touched. Tiger Woods is not arguably, he's the greatest golfer of our generation. Growing up watching Tiger was so damn good. He only had 17. It is going to take a miracle for Tiger to get 18 is all I'm going to say to tie him. Okay? And if someone down the line at a younger age is able to just become a phenom, maybe it's Tiger's son, and able to get 18, then I will be hand up raising, and that'd be incredible to do that. But 18 major championships, which is obviously the U.S. Open, the Masters, British Open, and I can't remember the last one off the top of my head, but the 4 major Opens. And if you win 14, 18 of those, players is the other one. If you're able to win 18 of those, like Jack Nicklaus, hands off to you, because that's going to be incredible. So happy Masters Week. Sky Scheffler's my pick again. Sleeper pick, Max Homa. Sleeper pick, Max Homa. Gotta throw that in there. Sleeper pick, Max Homa.
Shout out homosexuals. Homosexuals.
Homa, I love Homa. He's become one of my favorite golfers, is all I'll say. Number 5, Unbreakable records. Djokovic, 24 Grand Slam titles. I gotta throw tennis in there. I have to do it. 24 Grand Slam titles. For those that don't know, Grand Slams are the 5 major tournaments in tennis as well. Wimbledon, U.S. Open, British Open, French Open, and one other I can't name off the top of my fucking head.
I can't help you with that one.
Exactly. I know you can't help me with that one. 24 Grand Slams. It'll never be touched. Roger Federer, Nadal both had under 20. Djokovic is 24 and counting. And frankly, he could go up to 30 because that's how good he has been for so long. He's arguably the greatest tennis player of all time. And it's a championship record that I frankly think will never get touched. So.
I think that all of those are definitely what we're talking about. Unbreakable. It's going to take a lot, but they're not out of the realm of possibility. I'm going to put mine up on the screen here. We're somewhat along the similar lines. My first one that I have, baseball fans know, Cal Ripken's 2,632 consecutive starts. I know that it's baseball and it's not a very physically demanding sport, but even like getting up every single day consistently, and there's 162 games per season. So I'm not a math guy. I can't do that in my head. My brother would be able to. Cal Ripken's Ironman record is on par with the NHL Ironman record. Anything like that is an incredible number of games to play in a row. 2,632. Cal Ripken. It's not close right now. So we'll see if anybody, especially with load management, is willing to touch that. Gretzky's all-time.
Before you say that, do you know the lore of the conspiracy theory on why it got broken?
It was his wife was canoodling with somebody very
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
During the Field of Dreams.
Nico, remember when we had our conspiracy theory segment? I was the one that brought that up on this show. I remember vividly now. You just jogged my entire memory. I was like, holy shit, yeah, Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams.
Could have been more. It could have been more, is all I'm going to say. Could have been more. If you don't know what we're talking about, look it up. It's very, very
He
fun.
He played through a busted knee. He played through a bad back, and he's like, Kevin Costner slept with my wife. I can't. Wayne Gretzky's all-time points record, 2,857. What you need to know about Wayne Gretzky, if you take away all 894 career goals Wayne Gretzky scored, he still owns the all-time career points record.
Yeah. It's I mean, that might, I don't know where Ovechkin's at. But
he's got nowhere near the amount of assists that he needs. I'm know, almost confident.
No, not points wise, but like you take the goals away, maybe he's closer to that number than the overall. But like, I mean, yeah, that's a Gretzky was the greatest of all time.
It's just sick. Yeah. Like I said, you can take away all the goals that the guy scored. He still wins this thing based on assists alone.
Yeah.
And nobody likes assists. Gretzky didn't like assists either, but he got a shit ton of them. That's all I'll say. Joe DiMaggio, 56-game hitting streak. If you play MLB The Show, you know how difficult this is in the road to the show. It's a big deal when you accomplish this. 56 games in a row. Joe DiMaggio did it in real life. 56 games where you at least get on base one time. I don't know if you know this, Nico. What does it take? What batting average does it take to be considered an all-star in the MLB?
300.
300, which means that you get out how many times out of 10?
I mean, 7.
7. 7. You get out 7 times out of 10 in an MLB setting. Joe DiMaggio still got on base.
I know.
Excuse me, not on base. A hit, a singular base hit in 56 games in a row.
I mean, that's insane because, like, you think about it like this is like the average. Like if you hit the ball 1 out of 3 times in baseball, you're an all-star.
Yeah. And he hit the ball well above 3 out of 10 times. And he was Joe DiMaggio is obviously one of the best to ever do it. I can't think of somebody better getting on base, getting a hit in every game. Minnook, this one was out there. This one I don't think that you had on your bingo card. Heaviest human being to ever live, 1,404 pounds. That is how heavy this man was. I hope nobody is close to that.
I hope no one gets half of that.
I don't want anybody to know, because here's the thing. We both watched Invincible. Thrag is going to be coming along in the upcoming seasons. He's in lore considered to be 700 pounds and with a six-pack. I don't want to know what a 1,400
unless you were a fucking Greek god that stands 7 foot tall and just built like fucking, I don't even
1,400 pounds, you need to be like 15 feet tall.
Yeah, like you have to be at least 8 feet tall and like have to be built like the mountain, but double that size. Then I'll be fine with it.
It was insane when that came across my screen today. Final one, Cy Young. He has 746 complete games and 511 wins. A complete game, for those of you that aren't baseball people, he threw 9 innings at least. So he had completed over 700 games where he's the pitcher, the only pitcher for his team that throws, and 500 of those 700 games were wins in the MLB. Cy Young on another level. Those are my top 5 unbreakable records for this top 5 that we have going for us. Play of the week. What do we got? What's the play of the week?
Play of the week is just the easiest thing possible. If you're watching on YouTube, you didn't see the highlight, here's your opportunity.
We probably are. We're not going to show it because I'm worried about all of the copyright stuff. $8.95. $8.95. Yes, Alex Ovechkin's goal. It's not sliding across his back or anything like that. It's from his office.
For those in an honorable mention, I just think it's the most insane hockey goal of all time. If you look back at like Ovechkin's second season, I think, or maybe his first season, he was playing in Arizona. He scored this goal off his back, literally off his back. Like back on the ground, hit the puck behind him, shoveled it in on the open net, and went in. And by the way, that Arizona Coyotes team, I think it's Phoenix actually. I don't remember.
Yeah,
if the Arizona Phoenix Coyotes team was coached by Wayne Gretzky. So it's one of those great things, and obviously $8.95. The whereabouts to do it, the ripper from the top center, the celly, the full ode to his fountain celly after winning the cup, where he just laid flat out and let everyone tackle him. It's great. It's great. Oh, he's great for the sport, and man, he deserves it.
It was amazing. And like I said, I wish I would play the highlight, but I don't want any reason for anybody to take us down. We're controversial, but we don't want to be that controversial. Player of the week. I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's one of our guys, Nathan MacKinnon, in the month of March. 19 points, 12 assists, 7 goals. April's been a different story, but they had 4 regulation losses within the month of March. The Avalanche, this is the best we've felt about them for a long time since the 2022 Stanley Cup run. So I'm going to ride that wave. Nathan MacKinnon deserves my player of the week. Who do you got for player of the week?
All right, Walter Clayton, Final Four, most outstanding player, not NPST, most outstanding player. Sorry, that's a hand up on me. Accountability. Not very good typing today. 22.3 points per game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists for the entire tourney. This was your cardiac moment. So congratulations, Walter Clayton. Absolutely deserving.
And that will lead us right into the opposite of the player of the week, our bench warmer of the week. Nico, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised, but who is your bench warmer of the week?
I'm not going to beat a dead fish because, frankly, that fish has been dead for months now. It's Calvin Booth. He won't get another general manager job in the NBA. I guarantee you that. He will go coach his son somewhere and enjoy family life, which good for him. He deserves it. He will never have another job in management in the NBA. Guaranteed. So that's all I'll say at that. Absolutely piss management of the worst player in franchise history is all I'll say. That's I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to go into more because I don't want to get fucking called out for it because I still want a job and love the Nuggets to death. But like it was very, very poor management, and we're better off with him being gone.
My bench warmer of the week goes directly with yours, the Kroenkes. They should have fired Calvin Booth before Mike Malone was fired by Calvin Booth. If you have one of the two, I feel better. If you have Mike Malone, I feel 10 times better about the Denver Nuggets moving forward into the playoffs. The fact that you have no general manager or head coach, you're the owner of a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar franchise, a lot of them, you know better than that. You know better than that. You need to let the guy finish out the season and play out the playoffs. This is just it's. We talk about some of these moves going down, and you're going to teach them at Stanford and Duke law and Duke business and law. You're not teaching this. This is some bullshit. I don't know what the Kroenkes are doing. I don't know what the whole situation between Calvin Booth and Michael Malone is, but it seems stupid. It seems like the wrong situation or the wrong decision. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's just like it's a tough time to be a Nugget fan. Fortunately, we are. that's the fun part. Unfortunately, we are.
Well, we'll wrap it up on that. We'll let everybody go off and enjoy the rest of their week. Make sure you're following at FEOTV Pod. We talked about it a couple of times. We're the most controversial podcast on Anchor. We're going to have to go through. There will be a new feed that you need to follow, but on social media, it's the same. YouTube is the same. It'll just be all of the audio podcasting platforms. So if you listen on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, you will have to look up. We'll post the link. Make sure you're following us at FEOTB Pod, and then you'll be able to catch up and keep up with everything. It's a new era of Far End of the Bench podcast, but we have that as a little bit of information to drop for everybody. What else you got for the people?
It was a somber episode. Obviously, it sucks this time of the year, but frankly, we still have two teams that can win a championship. That's the fun part about it. Still two teams that can win a championship.
Three. DU. Did DU lose?
Also. Three. No, they play on Thursday. They play as the show's coming out Thursday. So they play Thursday. So we'll see how they do. And so three teams win a championship. One franchise that's already dead, and it's 1 week into the season in Colorado, Rockies, and the Broncos offseason draft plans are coming up. Oh, and I'll be in Vegas next week for WrestleMania, so don't worry. We'll talk about all that next week.
WrestleMania?
Yeah. Oh, I just can't get out of Vegas. Vegas misses me, Jimmy.
You're a braver soldier than I am, my friend. You're
I will not be
a much braver soldier.
To be honest with you, it's a lot more geeking out on wrestling stuff, but yeah, I will be returning back to Vegas 1 month after I was there with you. So.
It'll be. I'm praying for you because you're a braver soul than I am. Episode 226. Make sure you follow at FEOTV Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you continue to rock with us. For myself, Jimmy Pilato, my co-host Nico Bryant. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will see you guys next week.
Peace.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.